Welcome to Cellos for today's media luncheon. Our players, offensive lineman Jim Walsh, head coach Matt Mitchell in the middle, and Matt Judon on the right. Coach, if you could talk about the Ferris game, and then we'll move on to Lake Erie.
Awesome crowd. Appreciate everybody coming out. It was a great atmosphere. Offensively, at first half, hit the big play to Brandon Bean, which really got us kind of kick-started there and was an explosive play. We had a series where we had first and 10 on the 20, 2 procedural penalties backed us up. We had to settle for a field goal there. I thought that was a really critical series. If we could have scored a touchdown, matched some points, that would have been big. And then we had another series where we ran a trick play, and we had Potts wide open and just couldn't quite hook up on the reverse pass. So I think those are, first half, a couple big series for us where we had some opportunities to really convert and score touchdowns and get some momentum. We didn't take advantage of, but on the flip side, right before half, we put together kind of a 2-minute drive, and Bart Williams puts it right on Jamie Potts on a route for a touchdown. First half, I think there were some opportunities we missed. Obviously, probably the story of the game is the third quarter. Too many 3-and-outs offensively. We were not explosive offensively in the third quarter. Never got the ball across the 50-yard line in the third quarter. Never were able to change the field position or put any stress really on Ferris with our lack of offensive output, in that quarter. So we're taking a look at our third quarter output, just back-to-back games. We've come out of the locker room at halftime and have not been very productive on the offensive side of the ball, putting together any scoring drives. Certainly, I feel like obviously last game and even look at the second half ODU, we got to make a concerted effort to run the ball better coming out of halftime. And then, I think Bart Williams was feeling a little bit more pressure than he needs to feel. The last couple games, he's having to sidestep some rushers. He's getting hit. He's been on his back a few times, even when he's made throws, and we're not protecting our quarterback as well as we need to. And that's not just an offensive line thing. That's design and structure of our offense. We've got to look to try to help him out a little bit that way. And then, it obviously got away from us at the end of the third and into the fourth quarter, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Defensively, the story of the first half, I thought our defensive line and our linebackers did a good job, bottling up the run game. Their receivers, and we had some one-on-one situations, their receivers made plays and our DBs did not, whether it was a missed tackle that sprang for a big play or the ball was up in the air. I thought Jason Vanderlaan was on fire throwing the football, and their skill guys were doing a great job in some contested spaces, either making us miss on some tackles or making some plays when the ball was in the air. And he's a warrior second half. The first half they ran him obviously quite a bit, but he got hit a few times. He kept bouncing back and making a lot of plays, and we were just on the field a lot. For that style of offense, we were on the field a lot in the third quarter, and even our defense, I think, battled in the third quarter. We got a pick. Trey Walton had the pick, and we got a couple stops here and there, but just on the field a lot, in the third quarter. So we got into the fourth quarter, and I realized based on the differential in the score and the time that was left, I just made the decision as a head coach to pull our defense off the field because I knew we had a lot more games to play, and I wanted to keep those guys healthy. And our backups went in there and did not perform very well. And then offensively, I kept our starters in because we need to grow and improve offensively. And I probably put Bart Williams in a bad situation on the pick six that we gave up there. I'm trying to, again, I'm looking at this as we've got a lot more games left to play and trying to progress our offense and keep them moving and not just pull those guys out of the game too. So we put our twos in on defense. It didn't perform well, and I probably didn't put our quarterback in a great position late in the fourth based on the score, what was happening. And things obviously got away from us in the fourth quarter. So a lot of lessons to be learned off the tape. Ferris State's a very good football team. I think, like I said, their offense is extremely potent. And we knew the type of game we're going to have to win. We were going to have to score more than 17 points. And we did not do that on the offensive side of the ball. We just gave up a few too many explosive plays, defensively, especially in the back end of our defense. So 2-1. The message was there's a lot of football left to be played in the GLIAC. There's a lot of football left to be played, in Division II. So we got to get the bad taste out of our mouth and show up and have the best possible Tuesday that we can have heading into the Lake Erie game. So provides an excellent opportunity to kind of see what the mental makeup of our team is, what the grit is. You know, you win a big game like we won at ODU, it's easy to be on the team. When you have those types of the loss that we had against a rival in Ferris State, then you get to start to figure out a little bit about your squad. So I'm looking forward to seeing what our locker room's like when we get back together tomorrow and get ready to face Lake Erie. So, you know, Lake Erie's got a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball. Anthony Bilal, who for whatever reason has not played the past 2 weeks, but I would anticipate him probably playing against us, is one of the more explosive backs in our conference. If you look at the season statistics last year in Division II, I think he was right, you know, at the top or 1 or 2 or somewhere up there in terms of rushing yardage. And against Ashland, I mean, he's averaging 10 yards a carry against Ashland. So he's explosive. They have a lot of experience at the quarterback position, experience outside. Where they're weak this year offensively is on their offensive line. They have a lot of 4 of the 5 guys on the offensive line are first-year starters for Lake Erie. Defensively, they've made some changes to their defense, and I think it's been a little bit slower than maybe their coaching staff had anticipated adjusting to those. They've given up some points against Ashland, gave up some points against Hillsdale. But last week when they need to get some stops and need to score points against Walsh, they did it. And they beat Walsh in a double overtime game. They were down 2 scores in the 4th quarter and showed some grit and came back and won the game on the road against Walsh. So they've got some momentum heading into this ball game. And for us, it's about our practice and our preparation and our approach. And that obviously starts on Tuesday. So we can't let one loss turn into 2. We got to get back on track and find a way as a team to get better and be 3-1 when the whistle blows on Saturday.
Matt, in light of what happened last game, are you looking at making any changes positional-wise, or are you just expecting the players to play better?
We won't make any changes. You know, defensively, there won't be any changes. You know, and again, like you look back on the tape, you know, besides giving them a few plays, I thought our defense was competing, was playing hard. Offensively, I think that if there's going to be changes, it would be taking a look at some guys that we may not have due to some injuries and some things like that. You know, Brandon Bean's probably questionable at this point in time for the contest, and I'm hopeful we'll find out more tomorrow. I'm hopeful that we can get a couple guys back that didn't play, i.e. Martavius Carter back there. And so, you know, there will not be a change at quarterback or any of the starters on the offensive line or you know, who's getting the ball really on that side of the ball. We've got to, you know, we dropped 6 balls on Saturday. We had a chance to make some plays, and we dropped 6 balls on Saturday. And, you know, we didn't run the ball as effectively as we needed to. And some of that's a technique issue up front. We got to get better technically up front on our offensive line. And we got the right guys in position. We got to make some plays, you know. We got to make some plays. And there's no one specific player. It's, you know, our lack of production offensively, especially in those 3rd quarters. It comes down to some drops, some bad technique. You know, it's coaches and players together. It's not just players. It's not just coaches. It's everything together, and it's breaking down. And we obviously got to get it fixed. And we got an awesome opportunity to do that on Saturday. So we'll get our chest up and our eyes up on the offensive side of the ball, and we got to get back to attacking. And like I said, when we're running scripted plays in the first half, you know, we're getting points, we're getting explosive plays. It's coming out of halftime. You know, we got to be better in the 3rd quarter, obviously.
Jim, speaking of the rushing attack, it seems like Lake Erie, 300 yards per game about on the ground. They're giving up. Going to be a good chance to get things going again. From your perspective as a unit, what do you guys need to do to get the running game going?
Yeah, I think we just need to be a lot more physical, and we got to have a lot better practice week. You know, ODU, we practiced pretty good all that week, and this last week we didn't have very good practices. So if we can clean up the practice, be more physical, clean up our technique, I think we'll definitely benefit from that on Saturday.
Coach, you mentioned before the start of the season that this could be a year where younger guys and less experienced players might get a little more opportunity than in past years. Just curious, on the offensive side, is there anybody who's got the kind of quickness and burst that we haven't talked about very much that might be able to be a situational player for you and give you a little bit of that outside burst that seems to have been lacking at least the first 2 games at home?
Well, from the outside perspective, I think Brandon Bean's been extremely productive. I mean, we threw a ball to Brandon Bean over the middle, and he outran their whole defense for a 70-yard touchdown. So, you know, Potts, he had a touchdown catch, and he's getting back in the flow. Jamie's not where he needs to be. He'll get there. You know, he's coming off a baseball season and a flight in, and he didn't practice the ODU week because of a bad ankle. He first had his first basically 3 days of football heading into Ferris, and I thought you saw some production of him. So, you know, between Matt Williams, Brandon Bean, and Jamie Potts, and again, from a quickness standpoint, I thought Brandon ran away from their whole defense multiple times. You'll see Nick Dotson continue to improve. Nick had a chance to make a play, and he went up, and you know, he's got to come down with that ball. We had at the end of the first half there, we threw a flag route to him, and he high pointed the ball. I just didn't snatch it to his chest, and we had a fumble. And his role will continue to increase as he gets more comfortable. He's going to get some good defenses here the past couple of weeks as a true freshman. It's a tough test, but I like his mental makeup, you know, and what he can do. And then, you know, our other slashers that we've got in terms of just flat out, you know, speed and experience are Kirk Spencer, which everybody's seen Kirk Spencer, Martavius Carter. We didn't have Marty. We'll get Marty back, and he's another guy that could be a home run hitter for us out of the backfield and use him in the passing game and some other things too.
I should have been more specific. I was thinking more like running back, somebody like Lumpkin or someone like that. Or
right.
Is there any other people other than Marty that
well,
could get in?
You know, we played Christian the first 3 games. He didn't have a ton of snaps on Saturday. Again, we're still trying to probably figure out, you know, we're 3 games in. We're trying to figure out what Christian's good at. We're trying to get him a role. You know, to be honest with you, we had a reverse to him in the ODU game, and he dropped that in that moment. And, you know, he had an opportunity there to make a play, and he lost a little bit of trust, I would say, mainly from the head coach. So he's got to earn that trust back through great weeks of preparation and practice. And so those are the 2 freshmen that we have up. And you know, both have had chances to make plays in big games, and they haven't, and that's fine. They're freshmen. We got to keep force-feed them in practice, and they're 3 games into their career, and like I said, they've gone against 2 top 10 teams nationally, and they've had a couple chances to make those plays, so I'm not down on them. They got to continue to improve, but yeah, I think they both got bright futures. They just got to make some plays when it's time to make plays.
This is for Jim and Matt Judon. Talk to me about how your team will respond. How do you think your teammates will respond to losing to a rival and having to get ready for another game, and there's a lot of season left?
It's just one game. We're not going to make a big fuss about it. We didn't want to lose any games, but it's football. It happens. We got outplayed, and we're not going to pout about it. We're not going to put our head between our legs and fold up. It's still a lot of season left, so we're going to come back today and the following days, have great preparation for Lake Erie, and we're going to come out and play.
Yeah, I think we're really taking this as a learning experience. It is just one game, and there's a lot of good tape to learn from. And if we can actually learn from that tape instead of hang our head, which I think we'll do, we'll be a lot better moving forward.
Coach, for Lake Erie specifically, is there one area you need to improve right away because of what they present?
Well, I would say, again, we got to get Bart Williams. The number one thing has happened offensively is that we got to get Bart Williams some time and some protection and get him comfortable back there, you know. And if we got to take a look at everything. If we can't, you know, 5-step protect, we got to take a look at some things to allow Bart to get maybe the ball out of his hands quicker. Look back on the game, maybe some opportunities to get the ball out of his hands quicker. But, you know, it doesn't matter what level your football, your offense has still got to run through your quarterback. And our quarterback in the third quarter hasn't played as well as, you know, he needs to play. You know, specifically the second half, but I'm looking at the last 2 games. The third quarter production out of our quarterback, we haven't got what we needed out of our quarterback. And I think a large part of that, watching the tape, is he hasn't been able to drop back, set his feet, and throw the ball accurately. You know, he's throwing some good balls, and we've made some plays on some balls. It hasn't been consistent enough. I'm looking for more consistency, you know, protecting our quarterback. And obviously, we got to take some pressure off our quarterback, too, by having a more consistent run game. We had that at ODU. We had some runs going, things like that. We didn't run the ball effectively enough against Ferris. And a byproduct of that, too, Greg, was the score also got away from us, too. When you start getting down by 2-3 scores, you're going to lend yourself to put yourself in situations you got to throw the ball more. And we got to protect Bart by not being in a lot of 3rd and longs. We also found ourselves in a lot of 3rd and longs on Saturday night. And, you know, we got to be a little bit better in some of those other situations on 1st and 2nd down.
Okay, that will conclude today's Media Luncheon. Thank you.